Today we have with us a Jaguar XE 25T portfolio, a big name for a small car. Well, at least when it's compared to its siblings, the Jaguar XF and the Jaguar XE. This British engineered car is the direct answer of Jaguar to the Mercedes C-Class, the BMW 3 Series and the Audi A4. And in this video, we're going to be giving you a thorough review of this car. So without any further ado, let's get into it. I've got this car from Mohit and Raja Car Deals, and they have an amazing inventory of many other used cars. So if you're interested for this car or any other used car, their contact details have been linked in the description below. Now let's finally start the review of this car. Let's kick off the review of the XE with the styling, and front and center when we see this car, it is a beautiful scenery. The way this car has a lot of accentuating lines, it just takes me over. As you can see on the hood itself, we have 4 individual lines, and the 2 lines in the middle which converge in the center. It looks very nice and gives this car a much more sportier look, which I am in favor of. Talking about the headlamps, we have a projector headlamp setup and the traditional J-blade styles that we get in every other Jaguar as well. Not to mention, this being the newer design and XE being the sportier variant, we do get much more sleek looking headlamps, which I think look very nice and give this car a sporty character. Talking about the grille in this car, being a Jaguar, obviously we get a similar style grille that we get in the other siblings, that is the Jaguar XF and the Jaguar XJ. But being the XE, this grille size is a lot more smaller and less wider. But the overall design remains the same, with the chrome finishes all around it and the red Jaguar logo in the front. Alright, so coming to the side profile of this car, the first thing you would notice is the length of this car. Compared to the other 2 Jaguars, the length is a little bit short, and that is okay because it's like a compact sedan which has to be sporty, so that's okay. The next thing you would notice is the 17-inch alloy wheels. We have a 6-spoke V-style alloy wheel design. It looks very nice, and the silver color with this white color car looks very nice. The one thing that I like about this car is that we have this vent over here. It's actually an X-take, and it's actually a working X-take. It's not fake. It's actually working with real holes, and it has the Jaguar embossing on it, which looks very nice, and it's completely chrome, which gives this car a good styling look. And speaking of chrome, the other thing that we have chrome in this car are the complete window sills of this car. The complete window surrounds, they have been finished in chrome like in any other luxury car as well. But now coming to the ORVMs in this car, that's I think the most unique thing about this car. That is because these ORVMs have the same design that we get in the Jaguar F-Type as well. And that is the fully blown sports car from Jaguar. So giving the similar style of ORVM design even in the XE shows how much sporty character they wanted to give to this car. But aside from these facts, I think the overall look and the side profile of the Jaguar XE is just like any other luxury car. It's simple, sober, and it looks very nice and elegant. Now, the rear of the Jaguar XE is actually quite simple, but it is the part of the car where you can actually tell that yes, Jaguar has put a lot of work into making this car the sportier car. And I'll show you. First off, it's a very simple thing that we have a duck lip spoiler in this car, and that probably is the most sportiest thing about this car. But second off is the way that they have given their exhaust tips. Now, if you look at any other Jaguar car, the way they give their exhaust tips is completely different. I'll show you a cinematic on the display for a Jaguar XF. But the way they've given it in this car is they've just slapped it onto there and done nothing about it, just like any other sports car. It's the most exaggerating way to give any exhaust in this car, and it seems like the Jaguar XE might have a very good exhaust note. Well, have a listen for yourselves how it sounds. Well, that was the exhaust of a Jaguar XE. How do you like it? Tell me in the comments down below. But if we come to another part, and that is the tail lamp design. The tail lamps of any Jaguar is the way to define any Jaguar car. The XF, the XJ, the XE, all of them have a very different tail lamp design. But the Jaguar XE has been a lot inspired from the Jaguar F-Type. Now you see in the Jaguar F-Type, you can see a picture on your displays right now. That's how a Jaguar F-Type looks from the rear end. Now look at the Jaguar XE. If I blur out this portion underneath over here, you can see that it is essentially the exact same tail lamps that you get in a Jaguar F-Type. And that in my opinion is pretty cool, but something that not a lot of people will actually notice. So that was about the sportier styling, but now coming to the simpler things such as the XE badging over here, the leaping Jaguar along with the Jaguar emblem over there, and the 25T badging given on the other side, telling us that, well, this is the 25T model. Now the interior of the Jaguar XE is actually very nice, and that has to do with the material quality. Everything in this car is either going to be leather, metal or piano black finishes. We have a contrast of black and brown in this car. As you can see, the dashboard itself is black leather, but then the seats are brown, and the dashboard area and the glove box area, everything is brown. So given on the center console, it's a very sturdy center console, doesn't move around very much. Piano black finishes, metal surrounds and a brown accents everywhere, so it looks very nice. Now there are some attention to details that I love about Jaguar. You know, talking about the AC vents, for example, they have a small little Jaguar embossing on them. Once again, it's a very small thing, but it looks very nice when you are driving the car or when you're just sitting inside the car, and that itself is a very nice thing. So overall, the styling is very nice, and one thing that I like about the XE is that they have copied it from the Jaguar XE, I would say, and that is the Riva loop. As you can see, we have a Riva loop around this car. It is an unbroken line of leather which goes around the cockpit of this car, and it looks very nice. It gives a very opulent feeling to this car, and that is in a big favor of the Jaguar XE. It's now time to talk about the performance and the mileage figures of the Jaguar XE 25T portfolio. Very long name, but when you open the engine bay of this car, first of all, we have hydraulic struts in this car, so that's very nice. It is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine capable of producing 240 horsepower and 340 Newton meters of torque. Now those are large numbers considering that this is a small compact family sedan, and that is why this car can actually sprint from 0 to 100 in just over 7 seconds, which is actually pretty impressive for this car. Now this engine has been coupled to a 8-speed automatic transmission, so that is also very nice, but the thing is that you also get paddle shifters with that transmission, so that is the best part if you want to go for a spirited drive in your Jaguar XE. But if you talk about the mileage, that is where you can get both disappointed and very happy, because if you talk about the city mileage, it's around about 10 kmpl, which is a little low. But then when you talk about the highway mileage of this car, well, previous owners have reported around 16 kmpl. Now that is pretty impressive for this car. And so that's about the performance and the mileage of the Jaguar XE. Now let's talk about the features that the Jaguar XE has to provide for us. So let's start out with outside the car, and there are a few features about this car that I really like, and that is the presence of a sunroof. It's not a panoramic sunroof, but it's a sunroof, and it is a very nice thing to have a sunroof in your car. And the second thing that I just absolutely love about this car is the Meridian sound system. It's a high-end Meridian sound system, so it's going to be an absolutely auditory bliss inside this car when you're going for a long drive and you're blasting out some music in your car. Now a few other things that I love about this car has to do with when we move inside the cabin of this car. So first of all, it's a very small thing, but it's still there nonetheless. As you can see, the steering wheel is at its upright position right now. So when we start up this car, first of all, the gear selector actually pops out. It's a red color gear selector, so because it's a sporty kind of characteristic, and that's a very important part of the car. So that red accent with this black and brown interior, it looks very nice, and that's a small little thing, but it actually looks very nice. So we have a 2-zone climate controls in this car. That's also very standard. We have a driver's display in this car. It gives you absolutely everything that you may require. It gives you things like the odometer and the trip computer, which is very standard in every other car. But something that I love about the Jaguar XE and Jaguar in general is that they give you a lot of customization. So two things that I love about this car is that it even gives you the customization within this display to know when the paddles should work, So when you buy this car as standard, the paddles will only work when you're in sport mode. That is the S portion of the gear selector. So when you're in the sport mode of this car, only then will the paddle shifters work. But if you want paddle shifters even when you're in drive, you can actually configure the display to do that. And that is absolutely wonderful, giving the customer the choice to however he wants to drive the car, and that's very nice. The second thing is of the 2-stage unlocking. Now, personally, I have never felt the need of having 2-stage unlocking, and if you don't know what 2-stage unlocking is, It's actually something like this. When two-stage unlocking is applied to your car, when you press the unlock button on your key fob, only the driver's side door will unlock and all the other doors will be locked. But when you press the unlock button twice, then all 4 doors of the car will be unlocked. So I absolutely don't know why anyone would need that, and in my personal opinion I would never use that, so I can just turn it off from the driver display. But if someone thinks that it's a good idea and they like that feature, well, they can turn it on from the display. So giving the customization to the customer's hand, to the driver's hand, that's very nice, and I absolutely love that about the Jaguar XE. But now coming to the main part and the main segment of our features thing has to do with the infotainment display of this car. So let's talk about that now. So when you sit inside the car, this is the saver screen that Jaguar shows you. Then it's a leaping Jaguar with the Jaguar logo down below. So when you start up this car or press this button over here, the display in this car turns on, and it's a very standard display. You can see we have media over here, so when you press on that, you can see we have source, and in source we have aux, AM and FM, very standard in any other car as well. Then we have our climate control. When you start up this car, as you can see that climate control will actually turn on, and it first shows you what the climate temperature is outside. It's showing you 15 degrees outside, but when you press on it, you can actually turn off the AC, or you can adjust where you want the airflow to come out. The other controls of the AC are given over here. As you can see, we have 2-zone climate controls, 16 degrees for the passenger, 16 degrees for the driver as of now, but then you can change it from these buttons. So going back, we have phone, which is once again very standard. If your phone was connected, it would show you the phone settings, but it's not connected. That's why it's asking you, do you want to connect a phone? So if I press yes, it will open the Bluetooth settings, but if I press no, it will take me back to the home screen. Then we have our navigation, very standard. It's just a map so that you can turn on navigation. So when we move forward in this display, we then get cameras. The cameras in this car are actually very nice. When you press it in, you can see we have a complete 360 view over here, but when you put this car into reverse, it actually shows you with guidelines where you want to go, along with an animation that this car is well this close to you, along with the 3D animation over here as well. But then when you move forward, you can see it's well just normal, and you can drive away the car however you want. And then when you stop it, it can then show you the 360 view, as you can see on your displays right now, and it's actually in real time. As you can see, when I move the car, it shows you in real time that the car is moving and it's coming close to that part over there. So that's about the cameras in this car, and I really do like them. So when you go back, then we have our eco mode. So eco mode is actually very nice. It gives you the real-time information about everything in this car. Right now we have impact on fuel. So right now it's saying that the AC is turned on. That's why it's having some kind of impact on the fuel as of right now. So that's why you can see that right now. We have this bar over here, and that's for the AC. Similarly, when you turn on many other things in this car, this bar will completely fill up, and it will show you each and everything where your fuel is being used. Then we have our driving style. Like I said, this is a car which is based on, you know, sporty character. So that is why it tells you everything in real time, that how much accelerator you're pressing in, what your engine and your speed is, then your braking amount, how much brake you're applying on your car. Every type of information can be found up over here. So when you're going for a spirited drive and you require such information, well, this is the display that you want to go in. Then we have our advanced strip. It tells you all the type of average that you had, like the average MPG. So this is in miles per gallon, so you can change it in the settings, the units of this car. So right now it's in miles per gallons, but through the settings over here, as you can see, if I go into settings, then into system, then into units of measurement, I can go into kilometers, and then everything in this car will now be kilometers. So that MPG will then be converted into kilometers per liter. So everything in this car is of that standard. So that's the overall general overview of this display. It's very elaborate. It's very easy to use, but I do feel that it is a little bit lagging. So if I press this button, it takes about 2 seconds after registering that touch that yes, the settings have opened. Similarly, if I press this, it takes about a second to go back to the home screen. So just that drawback, that it is a little bit lagging, but otherwise it's a fantastic display. Starting with the practicality, we have the glove box in this car. First of all, when you open it, as you can see, it's a very standard glove box, quite large. You can keep a lot of stuff in there, and for organization, first of all, we have an elastic band over there so that you can keep things tied up, and second of all, you also have a pen/pencil holder over there. Now moving to the center console, you have a space over here above the gear selector in which you can keep your phone, and then you also have a 12-volt charging socket to charge your phone over there, and you can also cover it with this cover. Moving behind, you have two cup holders over here, pretty large size, so you can keep like a bottle over here as well, and there is some space in between for I don't know what, but still you can keep some stuff over there. But then once you open this compartment over here, as you can see, we have a very large storage cubby. We have a random card over there, but if you could take that out, as you can see, we have a lot of storage space over here. You can keep a lot of stuff over there. But then you have this part over here for keeping coins, etc. You have a 12-volt charging socket over here which covers itself, an aux port, an SD card, and a USB port over there, so you can get a lot of connectivity through this as well. The door bins of this car are actually quite long, but they're not that wide, so you do have a limited amount of stuff you can keep over there. I don't think it is big enough for storing a bottle, but you can keep some magazine, newspapers, or other papers that you may require. And now for the most important part of our practicality session, which has to do with the trunk of this car. First, we're going to talk about opening this trunk, and we have three ways. First is the key fob itself, and then we have a button on the driver's side dashboard area, and then we have a request sensor given under there. So if we open this trunk from the key fob, as you can see, it opens on its own because it has spring actuators inside it. It is not an electronic tailgate, so you do have to keep that in mind. But anyways, if we talk about the actual trunk space, as you can see, as expected from any sedan, it is quite large. You can easily keep about 4 or 5 bags over here without any problem, and you can easily go for a long road trip with your family in this car. Now, a few things that I like about this trunk is, first off, we have hooks over here and on the other side as well, so that you can hang your groceries and so that they don't dangle around here and there in the trunk. And the second thing is of the loading lip of this car. As you can see, it is very low. Not in my whole hand fits in it, and so carrying around heavy stuff and putting inside the trunk, it will be very easy within this car. So the loading lip is very low, and I like that. Now, comfort in the Jaguar XE is actually going to be pretty important, because at the end of the day, no matter how sporty they make the car, it is a luxury sedan. So talking about the comfort for the driver right now, well, we have an electronically adjustable steering wheel, so the driver won't have any problem for that. We have 3 memory seats in this car for the driver, not for the passenger, so a big plus point for the driver over there as well. But that's the only exclusivity that the driver gets. The other things are similar for the passenger as well, that you can adjust the seat back and forth, the backrest back and forth, the height adjustability, the lumbar support. So everything in this car is of perfect matters in that sort. Now, the seat material, it is a very plush leather seat. It has a buckety design, so it grips me really well, so that is going to be really good as well. And overall, going in a long road trip, I really don't think that you're going to have a big problem sitting in the front seats of this car. But that's like the story of every single car. The front seats are no big problem, but the rear seats is where you may consider a little bit of problem, especially for a compact sedan. So let's see how the Jaguar XE fares in that test. So coming to the rear seats, the first thing that you will notice is that the leg room in this car is just about 3 inches, and the headroom is a similar 2 to 3 inches over there as well. But granted, I am pretty tall, I'm 6'1", and the driver's seat has also been adjusted according to me. So if the driver was 6'1", and if the passenger was 6'1", then is when you get 3 inches of legroom and 2.5 inches of headroom. So space wise, I don't really think that it's a big problem. The seat material is obviously the same, plush leather seats in the back as well. Although the under thigh support in this car, I feel, is a little low. So if that would have been remedied, this car actually would have been perfect. Now moving to the middle seat, there is a big transmission tunnel in this car, so you obviously have to split your legs with one leg on this side and the other on that side. The seat material for the middle seat, it's a little bit higher than the side seats, and due to that it makes it a little bit like a smidge uncomfortable, but not too much. I can easily sit in this car for a long road trip, even in the middle seat, for say a long road trip. So overall, the Jaguar XE 25T portfolio is a perfect car, and especially comfort wise, I don't think that any of the passengers will face any major issues. That was a review of the Jaguar XE 25T portfolio. Now, if I come to my verdict on this car, I think it's absolutely an amazing car. For enthusiasts, yes, maybe the XE is the perfect choice. But then if you talk about other things such as the features and the sheer comfort, I think for comfort at least, I would go for the Mercedes C-Class, and features are much better in the BMW 3 Series. But for an overall package, the XE is pretty good. If we talk about the price of this car in 2016, which because this is a 2016 model, this car was round about 47 lakh rupees for just the showroom price. So on road it's going to be much more expensive than that. But now you can find a very nice example of such a car in the used car market for a good price. So depending on the deal you get, I would definitely recommend this car to you guys. So that's all from my side. You know, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Comment down below what you think was the best part of this video, what we could improve on, because we are always open to suggestions. Share this video as much as you can, and a subscribe to the channel would be amazing because it keeps me motivated to bring more content just like this to you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.